Wembley. Black who's going to go for it. Black for the 1 point to win the grand final for Halifax, and he's done it. Ben Black strikes.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Talking the Facts of Life. My name's Mike Haig, and joining me, as always, just two of us again, is producer, good friend, birthday boy, Rick Farrell. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Are you? Thanks very much for all your well wishes. It was much appreciated. Nice to
see you. You're very, very welcome. It's the least I can do. We are proudly sponsored by eclipseenergy.co.uk. But if any local pizza places want to sponsor us, not give us any money, and we'll eat. And it could be healthy pizza. It could be, and we'll gladly eat pizza while we're doing it after the show, because it's a very safe way of doing so. Any local pizza places, or even Pizza Hut, Domino's Pizza, if you're watching, give us a shout. But before all that, let's get straight into it. So after that little satirical jab on news today, hey, there's only one place that we can start, isn't it? It's a new signing. There's no doom and gloom anymore. There's no turn the lights out, last one out, turn the lights off and all that. Put the light back on, because Greg Worthington has joined the Fax. What a signing.
It's one of them as well, isn't it? It's a plug-and-play replacement for Tyra, which everyone wanted. A proven championship player that's still got some rugby ahead of him, which is always good. Signed a 2-year deal as well, so there's no danger of him. He's got time to build into the shirt, but yeah, what a signing, man. I mean, you just look at his stats that came out when the signing was announced. Is it 7 times he's topped the table in 8 seasons, and all those tries, 1 try every 2 games. It's a pretty good record, so can't wait to see him in Fax colours. Definitely,
and he's always been a player from the opposition that we've admired, and has always done well against us. I know the video that got released, it showed him scoring a try against us. You could have got a better choice than that, Rick, but he showed
if already score against us, it'll improve our team.
It was showing our weaknesses that we needed to strengthen, and he could do that. That's what he was doing. Agent Worthington. But as a local lad, Queensbury lad, always good to see local lads. And again, it's hometown coach Simon Grix strengthening with local lads. But even regardless of that, I don't care where he comes from. If he does the job, then he does the job, doesn't he? We've already is essentially replacing an honorary Halifaxian or Fax lad, whatever you want to call him.
I think is what it is actually.
Yeah. But no, absolutely quality signing. It shows a statement of intent to the rest of the league that we can go out and get a Super League player, because that's what it was with Toronto, and it's awful what's happened to Toronto and that, but we can take advantage of that and give him some stability and locality. He's a local lad. He wants to, and what quite a lot of people have done, not necessarily just in rugby league, but also worldwide, is they want to think of the long-term future in terms of the work-life balance and travelling to work and stuff. And the opportunity he had with Toronto was amazing. The different culture they played in, and being able to play under the likes of Brian McDermott, but also experience Canadian life, what it was. A brilliant opportunity for him, but obviously he's thinking long-term, and what a better way to think long-term than coming back to your hometown club and spending at least the next 2 years there, and hopefully our chance to Super League.
He's such a quality player. He can't have been on the market for long as well, so you've got to give props to the board and to the coaching setup that have been able to get on the ball there and snap up a player that would have gone elsewhere, I'm sure. So, yeah, it's a real coup for Fax, isn't it? And I'm absolutely buzzing. We've been crying out for a natural centre for a long time, and it fits the bill for sure.
Definitely. I can't believe it. This is in no way to say we're little old Halifax, but I can't believe that there weren't Super League clubs sniffing around him for that. And obviously, it's come from Toronto. We're finding the feet, to put it kindly, in Super League, and there must have been clubs in and around that must have seen him and what he's done in Championship and what he had the potential to do, and not sniffing around and signing him. But just shows what Halifax are all about, the lure of going back to your hometown club, but also what a draw Simon Griggs must be as a coach, because we've mentioned before that what a brilliant career he's had and the players that he's played with and against and the respect that he has all through rugby league. This is coming to fruition and in the press conferences, not just from Worthington, but also the players that have re-signed that we'll get onto later on, basically saying, I share Simon's vision and I love what we're doing, that sort of thing. For Simon Griggs to meet up with Worthington and potentially say, forget Super League, forget those clubs, come to Halifax, I want you to be the main man and take us forward where we want to be. It's just so encouraging.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a sign of embedding a new kind of culture as well. We've had a bit of time off to reflect on what kind of club we want to be, and he's, like I say, he's been given a kind of leadership role across the club, which coming in, big signings like that have been tended to be given big roles like that. When we signed Morel, when we signed Tyra, they were given these leadership roles early on. So let's hope that he goes on to have as much of an impact as those guys did.
And also, it also gives us a bit of experience as well, because, like we mentioned last week, with Morel and Tyra gone, we're not just leaving massive characters and great players, but also experienced players, because take those out of the team and the players that we mentioned last week that have gone, the likes of Broughton, Tommy Lee, fair enough, he didn't play, but he was still around the place. And Dan Fleming, players of those ilk who have got that experience behind them. We're looking a little bit wet behind the ears in terms of like long-term experience, but Worthington's coming now, late 20s. He's been there, done it for championship clubs, top championship clubs, our main rivals in Featherstone and Lee, and then obviously what he's done with Toronto. He comes in with that experience, but also, like what you said, Rick, that winning culture of hello kitty cat, that winning culture of doing it with those clubs, because that's what we've missed. We haven't won anything for 8 years. Yeah. Fair enough, getting into top four and stuff like that, which is a massive achievement for a club like Halifax. But we want the actual proper success of a league leaders shield and a promotion. I'm sure Mr. Kitty Cat there.
Oh yeah, I'm getting distracted here, Mike.
You're doing your best, Mr. Bigglesworth impression, or Dr. Evil impression of Blofeld. I've been expecting you, Mr. Worthington.
Got a bit too much air for that, thankfully. For the time being,
but no, it is a fantastic signing, and like I kind of said in the live stream and in the podcast last week, the doom and gloom is saying, "Oh, we're doomed. The club's going to pot," all this sort of stuff. It's amazing what a signing does for that, and it's lifted the mood considerably. But as well as the other signings that we'll get onto, it is just a statement of intent, because we've been, and also more importantly, it is Simon Griggs' first big signing. Yeah, fair enough. He has signed play. He brought Scott Griggs in. He brought the likes of Keegan Hurst in mid-season and that sort of thing. But this is the first big signing.
Jody looked to be.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
This
is like the first potentially long-term signing to build a club around. Absolutely. In that respect, there. But yeah, it's so encouraging, and watching the highlights package that he put together, it's just exciting to see someone capable of that. But also what the highlights don't show is what a tough defender he is as well. He will make our line hard to breach. And again, he could potentially play inside the likes of Conor McGrath, who's still learning his craft, and players inside him, the likes of Will Calcott again, we'll get onto. He could have that line there to kind of marshal, and it's just invaluable. And we could sit and talk for an hour about how good it could be, but I've got a little bit of a packed show. But it is just so encouraging, isn't it?
It's still August as well, and like you say, if this is a sign of things to come, then it's only positivity in it. So, like I say, I've already said you've got to give the staff at the club props for getting the deal done, getting it over the line when maybe there might have been others sniffing around, and I only hear positive things coming out of them in it. In a negative world, it's a good time to be a Fax fan today, or when the time were announced.
Yeah, it's a good time anyway. Like it's a controversial topic, really, about the furlough scheme and the club asking for money and all that sort of stuff. But we've seen in Super League, and like as I say, I keep missing off the intros, but this is a rugby league podcast with a hint of Halifax in there. We've seen in Super League recently with the positive cases at Hull and then backroom staff at Saints, stuff like that, that if a full-time environment with the control of bubbles that Super League clubs will have, they're still getting positive tests and stuff. Imagine what the championship would have been like if we'd have tried to get back. It just wouldn't work, and it was the best thing all round for the championship to stop and that. And with that, Halifax are sitting pretty with that, because we can see in the background that we've got a lovely stadium which can't be used because it's council owned. We don't have to pay the rent that's on there. There's no all the office staff and all the players and all the coaching staff and all furloughed. There's no money going there. Fair enough for losing money in terms of walk-ups for gate, but I don't think we get that many walk-ups. I think majority of people will be season ticket holders. From what I hear, it's a very, very high percentage of those that aren't asking for a refund back for that, which is amazing. And also, we're still getting the Sky money as well. Sky money, all the distributor going down. But Halifax are sitting pretty. And
the real test comes, doesn't it, when the furlough scheme ends?
Of course it does.
Between games starting again. Are we 100% certain games are going to start again? No one can say at this point in time, but I'm optimistic that they will. And we'll plan for that, you know?
Oh, of course, yeah. But it's not just Halifax that are sitting for it. Most clubs are, and like as I mentioned before, ironically, it's the clubs that don't own their own ground that have taken advantage of this scheme, because the likes of Featherstone, who own their own ground and rely massively on the income that comes with that, in terms of how they can use the ground and stuff, they've been hit massively. And as I say, we need to take advantage of that. And it's just very, very positive. I can completely understand the point of view of fans, where it did look like it's a fire sale, everyone get out, and given the club that we support and the history that we've got, and it's a jab that gets going, dust off those begging buckets and get out on those terraces and all that sort of stuff. And me and you have seen it all before in terms of selling a load of players, keep the club going, that sort of thing. But the players that we've let go, like we mentioned last week, we're not going to get too many years out of them. And with the likes of Morel and Tyra, with the greatest respect to them, they won't be cheap. The top players who will have the big incomes there, much deserved high incomes, high wages and stuff. Getting them off the wage bill has allowed us to sign the likes of Worthington and others, which will no doubt be announced in the not too distant future, but also keeping our best players, not just best players now, but also ones coming through. And I know that Cat is so excited about it.
What's your opinion on that?
We thought it was going to be us two on there, but obviously the Cat is wanting its views. Curiosity's not killing the cat this week. But no, it's very, very good news in those sort of things going through. What we neglected to say last week, because there were so many departures, is that there were two that we missed, and two big players that have gone in Tom Gilmore and Keegan Hurst. Now, Tom Gilmore is possibly one of the most luckiest players at the moment. He's been injured for so long for Widnes, and he's finally getting his break, and he was looking really, really good. I thought him and Morel were looking to be a really good partnership, and he's just a class player. But obviously, with the end of the season and that sort of thing, and obviously Grix wants to go a different way. He's obviously got an opportunity with Ottawa, which is very hard to turn down. And fair play to him. Is again, like we mentioned, like with Jody Broughton that we mentioned last week. He's not put a foot wrong. He's done very, very well. Again, fitness was a concern. He missed a couple of games there, but it must be hard for him to get back to the little rugby that he's played. Very hard for him to get back there.
Shame, really, because he came into the club saying that his main aim was just to get a string of games under his belt, stay injury-free.
Yeah.
And when he was injury-free, he showed glimpses of what a top-quality player he is. That getting him, England night selection as a young lad. So he definitely had it there, but getting injured, maybe that's the conversation that the coach and player had prior to the season, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason. Or maybe we wanted to keep him, and Ottawa came in with a better offer. You just don't know. You can't blame a lad. But like you said, they didn't put a foot wrong. Would have been happy to keep him, but if
definitely,
it's a gap for another quality player to come in.
Hopefully so. And then we've got Keegan Hurst, who we all know what a great player Keegan Hurst is, and I'm a big fan of him. Like a lot of fans kind of say, "Oh, he just plods into the line and don't break through and stuff like that." And I think it's a little bit naive, those thoughts that like a prop doesn't necessarily have to bust through the line and stuff. He sets the platform with quick play of the balls. He does a work in defence, and I thought Keegan Hurst did that really, really well. Again, he's got opportunities going back to Batley, his own town club, and he's obviously got a lot of history there. But also the him going, it loses that experience with a young pack that we've got there really, and it will take a big name to fill it. But obviously the thing that obviously fans will think about, and I'm one of them, and it's just that I've matured a little bit and I'm not being so knee jerk. Is that if players are going, there must be replacements to come in, whether it's from within our club, like we'll get onto, or outside, and there must be names coming in. And it's a shame that Keegan Hurst couldn't stay with us, but obviously, like we saw with all the different circumstances, but with Dane Manning, the hometown club's your hometown club, and for what Batley have done for Keegan Hurst in his career and his life, he must feel that he wants to go back and finish his career there and owes him something. And again, not put a foot wrong in my opinion. I think he's played. I don't think he's had a bad game since he's played for us. Maybe not as spectacular as what we saw for Batley the first time round, and it's not a performance to put in Super League. But again, I don't see anything wrong with that. But it's just one of those. What do you think?
I think he always showed up well, didn't he? Like you say, he probably didn't punch the holes through the lines that you would have thought for such a big man. He probably didn't run his weight as much as he had done previously. He had a lot going on off the field as well, didn't he? Did that eat into it, maybe. He came into a team that was already on the down and never really sort of gave it back up. And then obviously, collectively, we had a bad year last year and never really got going this year. So I don't think it's kind of hard to judge him, really. He's had like 2 seasons, but spread across 3, hasn't he? It's been it's been an unusual stint, but he played well for the shirt. He appreciated the fans. He understood the club. He bought into the system. We wish him well.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure he could have gone to Super League when he did come down to us as well. That's the thing. He was a very, very established Super League player. And he could have well have had his offers, but he chose to come to us. He trusted, and again, the lure of Simon Griggs. He must. When obviously you'll know a lot better than me, Rick. If you sit down with Simon Griggs, you must see what he's all about and what he knows and stuff. He must be a very brave man to sit with Simon Griggs and go, actually, no thanks.
Yeah, I mean, the ins and outs of the game, Griggs is, in my terms, for my sort of dealings with him, an absolute genius. He reads the game on a completely different level. And if you're talking in terms of like maybe they had a misunderstanding or, he didn't see eye to eye on what he wanted from him, or maybe he couldn't deliver what Grixie expected for us to be successful. It's one of those things. That's a conversation that goes on between player and coach, and I'd never want to speculate about what's said behind closed doors, but
No, again, what goes on behind closed.
Sorry, you stumped me on.
Oh, go on.
No, I said I don't have much to say on that one, mate. Grixie's a
That's
very
unusual
man about the game, and I think you saw from going back to the Worthington article that he said, they met up and had a coffee, and he bought into what he was selling. So obviously, what he's selling, I can't wait to see it produced on the field next year.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree, and with one of those philosophies, with the ones that he has had, one of the first re-signings was was done with the best headline of any rugby league signing I've ever seen. Is Elliot Morris dances into 2021? What a signing! He's a big favourite on this podcast and the radio show that I did down at Phoenix. He's an unsung hero in my eyes, and potentially he can be the best, not just prop but forward outside of Super League. In my opinion, he's just brilliant. Elliot Morris is he's one of those players that you could build a pack around, and very much a Simon Griggs kind of player, I think, in terms of he just works and works and works. He's got skills, he's got soft hands, he's got an engine on him, and he'll always back up, like we saw at Blackpool last year. He backed up the break to score that try to beat Bradford. But yeah, just an absolutely quality player in my eyes, and yeah, I think it's great. But what do you reckon, Rick?
The one that's come through the system, understands the club, and yeah, in terms of as a player and as a bloke, he's the kind of player that is a player's player, isn't he? Like you say, a bit like the Simon Griggs mould. He does the dirty work, but he wins his one-on-ones every time he's in. I don't think I've seen him be bested in a one-on-one.
No,
in the league. So yeah, it's a great thing to have him on board for another year. I think he was already under contract. I think we just jazzed it up a little bit just for a bit of good news. But I think everyone will be in agreement that it is really good news. So yeah.
Definitely. I don't want to be that guy, but I was one of the first ones when he made his debut in the Widnes friendly in 2017. I think it was, or 2016. I actually went to that game on my own, and none of my mates or family went. And I said, first thing, as soon as it was a freezing day, it was so cold. I was sat at the back of the stand with Bovril, and it was. But we digress, Rick. I said the first time I saw it, I thought that guy is going to be absolutely class. I could just tell from he only played about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, if that. But I just knew by the shape of him, by what he did with and without the ball. I just said that guy is going to be brilliant. I was there that day.
But the good thing as well is he's showing steady progression, isn't he? He's learning, he's listening to his coaches. He's the kind of player that every player wants, and he's the kind of player that every coach wants. If he takes coaching, he listens to what his coaches are telling him, takes it on board and improves his game, and he's just getting a bit like Brandon Moore. He's just getting better and better and better and better.
Yeah. Well, he's another one. Yeah, like you say there. Let's mention him while we're on him. Brandon Moore, another re-signing, an absolute, in my opinion, the best hooker outside Super League. And I don't think I'll be laughed out of any alehouse in the north of England or anything like that when I say that. I think he is absolutely class, and with the greatest respect, how he's not playing Super League. He boggles belief in my eyes, but I'm so glad that we've got him. I want to see more of him. That's what I want to see. Just a brilliant player. I'm so chuffed that he's staying. He's just dynamite out of acting half. He never ever misses a tackle. He tackles twice his weight. He's just brilliant, and quite rightly he was given a 9 shirt this year ahead of Keil Carlisle, and obviously awful what happened to Keil Carlisle, but he's just the man that we can build. Him and Morris and other players that we'll get to, you look at those re-signings and you think, bloody hell, what a pack. And any pack with Brandon Moore in is just brilliant in my eyes.
Yeah, another one that's come through the ranks a little bit after leaving Cass, and steady rise, getting better and better. So, the lads love him. He's really popular amongst the group, and he proves it on the field, getting all the way up to he won Star Man last year, didn't he, for Player of the Season?
He did, yeah.
Players Player of the Season. I think he's been nominated for Championship Young Player of the Season.
I was about to say, yeah, was it last year that he was nominated for Young Player?
So he's steadily getting better, and like I say, I think that's a real sign of what Grixie has to offer as a coach, that Brandon was like, yeah, I'm going to stay here, when maybe he had a chance to move on to a higher club. So yeah, we've got to be commended for that, and I can't wait to see him going again. I like the fact that he jumps in at 13 as well when needed. He's a total team.
Yeah.
even though he's a bit of a superstar at hooker, and like you say, probably in with a good shout of best hooker outside Super League, I think he's starting to get noticed a bit more. In that sense, semi-final was the only one that looked like he could probably break the line. You know, he took it from dummy half and went and didn't realise what had happened. So, yeah, it's that is the kind of player that would be first on my team sheet for sure.
Oh, for sure, definitely. And he's like personally, I can understand why Grixie did use him at 13 when Ben Kay were there and stuff. I think he's wasted a little bit in 13. You take away his biggest strength, and his biggest strength is scooting out of acting half, spotting very much.
Distribution out of acting half is outstanding.
Yeah. Oh, it is, yeah. It's definitely improved as time gone on, but with the pace and strength that he has, he's like Penkovic and Rowley before him. He just, if there's any lazy marking defence or any lazy retreats in defence, he's all over it. And it's just, that's where we've kind of been missing. And again, this could be where Grixie is looking in terms of more of a more mobile pack. We've been missing those kind of players to piggyback on top of him when he sees those defenders there to punch those lines through. And it's just so encouraging, and I'm so chuffed that he's re-signed. And again, it's a lot of this news is statement of intent. And again, no doubt there were Super League clubs going in for him because they'd be daft not to. They'd be daft not. I'm glad that he hasn't. Obviously, he may well feel that he owes a bit of loyalty to Fax because of what we did. I think he's more than paid us back in what he's done, but it could be one of those risks. Does he want to go to a Super League club and play a bit part?
He's had a couple of examples with a couple of good mates of his, hasn't he? Like Ads has gone up and a couple of other lads and maybe not got the game time. So he's like, look, I'm happy here. You know, why would I leave and go somewhere else where this is where I want to be? I'm a main focus of the team. There's only 14 spots in our league, isn't there, where I've started hookers is only 1 of 14. He knows he's going to get a game every week, and he's going to have an impact on that game. So yeah, I totally agree with that one, Matt.
It could be the draw of Grix. Grix may well have sat him down and said, "Look, I'm going to build my pack around you." If you're at a club and you've got the coach who says to you, "I want to build a team around you. You are my numero uno pack guy. You're my first choice hooker, and I'm building a squad around you, and I want you to be the centre of it." It must be an amazing feeling, and one that's very, very hard to turn down because, as we've seen players like you mentioned Tangata. Obviously, he went to Widnes for the right reasons, full-time rugby and that sort of thing. That went sour. Came back to us. Gone to Wakefield, very much in the right way. He's gone up to Super League and that. He's getting game time, not as much as we saw for Halifax, but he's still getting game time there. But does he want that? I don't think so. I think Brandon Moore's at that stage of his career where he needs to be playing every week. He needs to be either starting games or coming off the bench and spending at least 25, 30 minutes a stint on the pitch to do what he does. The thing that I've been really impressed with in the last couple of years about Brandon Moore is that he can be an 80-minute hooker, which shows the engine that he's got on him to do what he does in defence in terms of the amount of tackles that he makes, but also scooting from dummy half and the runs that he makes. To do that for 80 minutes is just phenomenal. And
I think
hopefully
one thing he does need to work on, though, because he's going to be stepping up with a lot of senior players. Having left, he's going to have a bigger voice in that dressing room. He's been here for a long time. He needs to improve his discipline because he's had a lot of sin biddings.
Yeah, a lot of...
Some I don't mind so much, you know, sticking up for your mates and all that stuff. And some refs give them, some refs don't. You know, it's one of those you can accept a few of them, but I think he just needs to. If he can improve on that side of his game and have a real sort of leadership role in the group, I think he'll get even better.
Oh, true. And again, he's still fairly young. What'll be now? 23, 24 maybe or something?
I think he's a bit older than that, mate.
Possibly. Still relatively young. You've got James Roby still doing it at 37 in Super League, so he's still got a long way to go there. Is it... What I would say in that respect is, could it be that's what makes him the player that he is? He's got that enthusiasm, he's got that aggression where if you take that out of his game, he's not the player that he is. I don't know, but you're right what you're saying.
Kept an eye on, though. That's because eventually going to get to the point where it's going to end up costing you a game, and then what do you say? So he's
we don't
want that to land on, because obviously he wears his heart on his sleeve, and I don't want it to affect him personally.
No, and we don't want Brandon Moore not to be playing. A team without Brandon Moore in it is obviously weaker, and he's banned for
a day without sunshine.
Didn't he get like a 4-5 game ban from back end of last year?
Well, I got a lot of stick from Tyra before he left, because I used it when they announced that the season had been suspended on Instagram. I used a picture of Pudge running out at the shares of kind of 2-for-1, season suspended, Moore suspended in one.
But no, I'm very, very, very chuffed that he's staying, and long way it remain. Let's call it the end of the first bit there. We've had a bit of a good old chat there. Let's have a little break, wet our whistles, but join us on the other side. Hello, welcome to the second part of Talking the Facts of Life, proudly sponsored by eclipseenergy.co.uk and other pizza place. Please let us know if you want to do that. That'd be greatly well received. Yes, but no money, obviously. Money for sponsorship, that'd be shocking. But yes, we will gladly eat pizza for the rest of these podcasts.
Delivered by the lorry load.
Definitely. As always, my name is Mike Egg, and with me is Rick Farrell. Rick Farrell Williams. But you've never heard that before.
Aye.
So yes, we are discussing literally the ins and outs of the club at the moment. We have discussed the massive signing into the club of Greg Worthington and the re-signings of Brandon Moore and Elliot Morris. Let's move on to another. Who shall we pick next? One that I'm really, really encouraged. I'm so glad that he's staying. Is Will Calcott. I think is the sort of signing that shows you that there is a pathway from junior, amateur, college.
That's what I've written down there.
Anyway, and just to go through, we didn't discuss this before. We're not doing a stage thing of I think this. Well, I think that as well. No, there's no. But believe it or not, folks, there's no script in these. No script at all.
Can you tell?
You can tell it. No, is a brilliant bit sign, and it's just we were both there at Lee when in that middle eights game where it was like boys against men, and he made his debut, and bless him, he ran his blood to water but got absolutely battered
left, right, and centre, didn't he?
Yeah, against a very tough league, but the progress that he's made since that night has been brilliant, and again, very much in the Elliot Morris mould. In the fact that he just does everything, he does the little thing, the cornerstone of a rugby player. He does everything right. He's not going to win any flash player awards or anything like that, but he just doesn't miss tackles. He always makes yards. He always gets a good play of the ball there. He never gets dominated, and like I mentioned before, he'll run his blood to water because he is a local lad. He loves playing for the club, and I'm so glad that Grix has seen that, and he's a sort of player like we've spoken about it off air and these sort of things. Grix will make his signings because he's that younger coach. He'll want to be able to mould the players into what he wants with his side. And not necessarily with the likes of Worthington, but with the likes of Calcott, Morris, Moore to some extent. He will mould them into the players that he wants them to do in the role there. And it's a brilliant re-sign, I think, and he's deserved it. Deserved it. But what do you reckon?
He's growing physically as well. He's one of those examples of why it's so important not to write kids off at 18 from the academy system and give them another route to get back into the game. And like you say, he's just proven that the pathway works. So yeah, I'm delighted. Probably not again your crash bang wallop type of prop forward. I think he can play across the pack if needs be, but certainly a big lad, certainly wants to play well for his hometown club, and I think you've sort of touched on there that he'll be a real sponge when it comes to learning off Grixie because he's young enough to do it. He's only had a couple of coaches, and the coaches before him was a pretty good one as well. So yeah, if he can continue his progress, I'd like to see him maybe get a few more games for Fax this year. He spent some time out on loan with Hunslet, I think, and a couple of other clubs. So yeah, it's a good system to have. It's a good pathway, and let's hope he can kick on next year.
Yeah. It's weird saying in August saying next year.
It off, haven't they? You could win the lottery in September, and everyone was like, well, that's it. It's 2021 when I won.
If I could win the lottery in September, that'd be amazing. It's my birthday, and a lottery win of £10 would be awesome. So let's hope that happens.
Is it, Mike? Buy another 2 tickets.
yeah, true. Very, very much so. Reinvest for more chances. But yeah, you're right what you're saying. He's more a Mitch Carlane than Adam Tangata for sure. But we all saw how good Carlane was for Halifax, and he's very much in that mould of Mitch Carlane weren't going to win any Flash Player Awards or do anything massively dramatic or anything, but it was best brought forward after 10 years, I reckon. But is the sign of Calcott is a really, really good one. It's not a massive headline signing by any stretch of the imagination, but for not to do any service for anyone else, but for proper Fax fans who can appreciate that sort of player, it's a very good signing, and it can only get better. That's the really encouraging thing. It can only get better by the players that he's playing around, the opposition that he'll play. Because I don't think he'll go out on loan. I don't think Grix will have signed players to go out on loan, especially with the players here. I think they'll sign them to play them, and I hope that he does. Maybe not an automatic starter every week. Obviously, I don't know who else is going to come in, but he's definitely. I would like to think he'd be part of the matchday 17, whether it's starting and then coming off or on the bench. But I'm chuffed that he signed. He's a local lad. The local lad, and he's come through. He came through Calderdale College with Morel, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, and is that still going on? Is that pathway still there for?
I think it's Calderdale Academy.
Yeah.
College. Yeah, I think it's still going on. So.
Yeah.
I think
so it shows.
I think they actually offer, rather than just a sports diploma, they're offering trades, so you can play rugby alongside a trade, which is something that was around at 16. I think would have been in better shape. So.
Yeah. That's brilliant, and it shows for those lads who were on that course already or about to start it that there is a way through. You've got someone who is playing for first team rugby for their own town club in the championship, which is brilliant. Really, really good news. Another one who's coming through the ranks. Let's carry on this theme of coming through the ranks is Fox Piss himself, Conor McGrath. He's scored some magnificent tries. Obviously, we've seen some amazing finishes from wingers in Super League this year, but like another ginger-haired winger in Tom Johnston, Conor McGrath has scored some wonderful tries. And again, he's someone who, on his day, if he gets a good run of games under his belt, he'll be quality. He'll be really, really good.
I mean, that finish against London is still the best try I've ever seen score at the Shea, right on the hooter. Diving into the corner, keeping his feet in. I didn't think it was technically possible. So another one of those. He's a young lad, still emerging in the game, and it shows it the quality that he must have, and that Grix believe he must have, because he's forced a few moves, a few transfers to get rid of people sort of in his place, so he can now make that starting position his own. I've written one word down here, and it's so important to any rugby league team and any sports team in world sport, really, and he's got it in abundance: speed.
Yeah.
One thing we've been crying out for, and one thing that kid has got in abundance. So yeah, it's one of the better signings for me. I think he's bided his time. He's he's not on loan. He's come through the system. He knows the Fax way. He knows the fans. He's comfortable in his surroundings, and I just want him to carry on doing what he's doing, because obviously what he's doing is working well enough so far. Yeah,
and he's filling out nicely as well. When he came into the club. Obviously, young lad, he looked, to coin a phrase, he looked like a lanky streak of piss in terms of Fox piss and that sort of thing. But he's filling out nice. He's like Calcott. He's becoming more of built like a man, and if your team's speed with that big build, then it gives you a lot of options all across the pitch, because he's obviously a winger. We've seen him play centre and even fullback for a bit in the reserves when they were active. He's just a very good prospect, very good player. He's not had that much opportunities, but the opportunity he's had, I think, he's taken really well. Yeah. And again, he's a bit unlucky in terms of the directions that Marshall and Griggs are gone, because that London try that you're on about was early 2018, and since then he's not played that many games, although in the highlights package that came out, he still scores tries. Whenever his try scoring ratio must be really good, I reckon. I don't know what stats there.
He just, if he gets ball in space and he's got an eye for the try line, I don't think I've seen him miss one yet. I don't want to put
and if he's playing outside Worthington, then
on paper it's a dream combination. So yeah, I'm really happy with that one, and I think all the Fax fans out there will be too. Yeah.
But for sure, and he's one which, I'm so glad he's bided his time. He's been so patient, because for a player to have that first team action, to go back into the reserves to play on freezing cold nights in Keighley and Featherstone with 20 people watching and stuff like that, to bide his time, to get this opportunity to be hailed as a re-signing for next year, to be part of the first team squad. And by all accounts, and when you think about it, he could, very much like Calcott, he could well be in that squad. He could be a starter. He could be. Again, it's, as you said before, it's only August. There's so much time before pre-season starts. If pre-season starting in November like it has done previously, so we've got best part of 2.5 months. Let's say 2 months for business still to be done. Now, obviously, there will be some players who will have signed, but from the clubs that they're coming from, they don't want to announce it and that sort of thing. But also, it depends on the players that we've got already that might want to stay. They might have got a deal somewhere else, and that could force Griggs' hand to think, well, he weren't going to be my first choice winger, but because of this, that, and the other, he could be there. And I would not complain one bit if Conor McGrath is a starting winger when February 2021 comes round. I think that'll be a fantastic sight to see, because we know what he can do. We know what he can do. I'd love to see his stats in terms of how many games he started for Fax and how many tries he scored, because it must be a very, very good level. Because from the highlights that were released in terms of try scoring, there's a lot of tries on there, and I don't think he's played that many games. So, and that's what you want from your wingers, isn't it?
Absolutely. We managed to get another winger on the other side signed up to a deal, didn't we, Shawnee Robinson? Here's to you.
Fax fans love you more than you will know, and yeah, absolutely great. He had a bit of a mixed season last year. He started off like an house on fire. He was absolutely brilliant for the first quarter to the third of the year. Then he went a bit quiet. He went, whether it was loss of confidence or loss of form or something like that. But towards the back end of the season, he started getting all right. And then this season, those 2 tries scored against Lee, especially, were great. And a good Sean Robinson is one of the best wingers in the league. And he's one of those. He's a very modern winger in the sense that he returns the ball really well and wins penalties. Very much like in the Jermaine McGilvery mould of getting the ball back in your own red zone and return it back with interest and winning penalties. He's absolutely brilliant at that. But also he can finish.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. He's a top class finisher, isn't he? And if you've got one on either edge, it means that your opposition's defence can't really get set up to where you think they're going to go. Are they going to attack left? Are they going to attack right? Because they can go both sides. So it's encouraging signs. He's got a bit of pace as well. It was the first time we've seen someone, I think, in his first year take an interception and go the length.
Yeah, and go the full length.
It's a long time since we've seen that. So, yeah, positive signs and other positive signs. And if I can jump ahead as well, Matt Garside in the pack, I mean, they're in a bad re-signing. They're in a bad re-signing where I look and go, oh, I wouldn't have kept them.
Yeah, I've got them all written here, and as we've gone through them, Like, I'm so glad for the first 6 signings to be announced there. There's not a bad one. And just to go back to Robinson, he's a really, really good finisher. He's not too bad in defence either. Yeah, he's a bit frail under eyeball because he's only 4'2", bless him. But in terms of his defence, what he's really good at, like Saltonstall, he's good at reading the defender, rushing in to put pressure on either centre or the winger. He doesn't necessarily get those wrong all that often, and that's very much the modern way. Like, he's really, really good at that, and his close range finishing is great. Not as well as long range finishing. We've already mentioned about McGrath. He's got the capability of finishing a move from 100 metres. Sean Robinson's got that, I reckon. He might not necessarily get the chance to do it all often because of how modern rugby league is at this moment in time. But I would make the comparison of what's it called for Wigan? Williams is it called? No, what's it called? Oh, the short. Sorry.
Burgess.
No, the other one. Short. The one that scored against Huddersfield, where it's straight from kickoff and just went. I think he might have played for Wigan himself, for Swinton before Robinson. I can't remember what it's called. Is it Liam Marshall? Liam Marshall. Yeah, looks very similar to him. He's not the tallest guy, but he still finds a place and still does the job. John Robinson can very much be like him, really. But yeah, going on to Matt Garside, it was quality signing at the start, but to keep hold of him is even better. I think it's even more important and even better bit of business for Halifax to keep hold of him. Because again, he must have had suitors, even if not necessarily from the Super League, but from your big hitters like your Lees and Toulouse and Featherstones. They might have been sniffing around him, and for him to come to Halifax in the first, 4 months that it was here to be able to stay is brilliant. And again, it goes back to what Simon Griggs is doing.
Absolutely, and like they all said, he managed to come in and earn the respect of his teammates really quickly and became someone that was really well thought of around the place. So to be able to keep those kind of lads around the group and add a few more on top of that, absolutely class. I mean, like I say, I don't see a bad signing so far. Let's just keep them coming. We've had all the bad news. Everyone's had a chance to exercise the demons a bit and really feeling that's absolutely fine. But let's just have nothing but positivity now.
Definitely. Positive rugby league. Rugby league's the winner and all that. But yeah, Garside is just a class player. Just very much in the Dane Manning mould of just grafts and works and works. I think more of a Shane Grady type. I think he's got more of a footballing brain on him than the Manning. I think he's a great fusion between Manning and Grady. He's got the sheer bloody mindedness of I will run against this brick wall until kingdom come and tackle everything that moves, but also the subtlety of Grady and the lines that he runs and that. So I think he's got the perfect balance there. And again, to be playing alongside the likes of Colcott and Morris, he'll bring them on nicely because of the experience that he's got there, and he's just a class player. And it could very well be a leader in that pack, really. Obviously, we've got other established names in that pack who have yet to re-sign publicly or privately, we don't know yet, but he's definitely going to be a leader of that team. And you mentioned, you see in different clubs, you have like leadership groups and senior leader groups and that. I would very much think that Garside is in that bracket, really.
Yeah, I couldn't put it any better myself, mate, to be fair. I think you've hit the nail on the head with everything there. He's really well thought of, and he's a good bloke as well. He's a good bloke to have off the field and to learn from for the young lad, yeah. So, great re-signing and up the facts. Can't wait to see him go again.
Definitely. That's the end of the signings for now. Obviously, there will be, as you've said before, there's 2 months before pre-season, and I think Griggs would be the kind of character that wants all his business done before pre-season. He don't want to leave anything to chance and leave any latecomers to the Shibden Hills before then. Let's talk a little bit about the rugby league outside of Halifax. And we touched upon it in the introduction, and it's just rugby league has just got this wonderful, wonderful way of shooting itself, not just in the foot, but in the shin, the knee, the back, the arse, anything. And I saw it late last night on Australian sites, and I thought, this is a wind-up, surely. This is an absolute wind-up. And lo and behold, it comes out that for those who've been watching Super League, have seen it on the electronic boards, Papa John's, the pizza chain, big name. They thought, bloody hell, they've done well to get these guys on board. How good's that? But like the store-bought deal before them, for absolutely nothing. They are just there to feed the players after the game. What a great post-match feed that is. But to get nothing in return, to get no financial benefit, is just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It's downgrading the value of your product if you're then going to get the next ones. We've got Papa John's. Well, I've got a mate at Pepsi who might be interested in marketing. Right, well, how much do you want? £500,000. Well, they got it for nothing.
Exactly.
Pepsi for no, if you want Pepsi for no. I just think it's a sad day. The guys that were brought in to broker these deals came with a remit, and I don't feel like that delivers it. I mean, where does it sit, really? Does it sit with the Super League? Does it sit with the RFL? The whole thing's just a mess, and fair play to them for coming in and doing it, but it's not a good deal from anyone's point of view. Do the players even want pizza every week? What happens if you want?
That's the thing. You do see, like I have seen in the past when they have the cameras in the changing rooms, big blocks of pizza and stuff. And that's like after a big win. That's like selling like after a semi-final or a.
You give pizzas because it's a good way to get them to load up on carbs after they've finished or whatever, and it's to get a lot of food transported quickly. But I just don't see why there isn't anything on top of that. Couple of pizzas.
It's just things. I can't see any gain to it. So when you have sponsorship, you get money for it. You get money for it. Like not to kind of like shout any myths here, but Eclipse Energy, the wonderful sponsors that we've got, they gave us money. They give us money to buy the kit that we've used once. But we'll use in the future. But that's the thing. That is the advantage, and we will plug and we'll mention them the work that they did when we have done until Kingdom Come. We've got the benefit of that. Super League got no. They've got absolutely no out of it, which is just beggars belief.
How much does it cost to buy? How many pizzas do you reckon they get after a game? How much is 10 pizzas? 60 quid. 100 quid.
It depends, yeah. I can't think of any. Because let's say you've got two teams, and let's say there's 30 members of staff, including players for each. So you've got your 17 match day, you've got your 18 man, and then you've got physios, doctors. But I don't know how many people in these time and places you can have at the game for that. So let's say 30, so making even numbers. So you've got 60 people who are getting pizzas there. And let's say they get 10 large pizzas for all of them, and then you might have sides and whatnot or whatever. Yeah, let's go mental. Let's say that's 200 quid. 200 quid a week.
If it's a case of that they've set it up because they want to sort of improve the image to other potential flagship companies that they can say, look, we've got Papa John's in, even though that it might not go out further than the rugby league press, that's the deal that they've got, and that anyone might not care, in fact. But come out and say that, just to come out just to release a statement like we're happy to have provided by pizzas, and then them to come out and say we're happy to provide them. Well, that's pretty obvious, but
something must have gone wrong for the fact that they're getting no money to come out. If you're having that sort of agreement, that should never ever become public. That shouldn't be. That should be a private contractual obligation not to make that public. And if it is that sort of relationship, fair enough, I can see the benefit of that. But for it to come out to say that you've got a big national identity who are sponsoring, who you can see all the publicity shot, all the shots they get, you can see in the background Papa John's on the advertising audience.
Yeah, they're getting
like
£100,000 worth of free advertising for 200.
Exactly, and Super League are getting absolute naff all for it. And if it could be, well, it is a case of right, well, it could be a case of right, we'll give you the food for free, and then next year we'll pay for it. We'll have more advertising audience, but we won't give food afterwards. Because again, I think from the press release that was put out, they're saying because the reason why they're doing it at Papa John's is the safest way to give people, because I doubt the kitchens and all that are going to be open at these grounds. I don't think it's just the safest way to have food delivered and administered, to put it clinically, at these games here. But it's just bad news. It just shows rugby league to be a tin pot sport. That to the outside looking in, for the people who will all look at headlines, rugby league is not a sport to pay to sponsor. But also, you've also got like in the distant past, Rugby Union Premiership have got a £40 million sponsorship. Their naming rights have gone for £40 million, and we getting a pizza thing for note.
Yeah,
I don't know how much.
Always want its own Pizzagate. I don't think they read what the.
But yeah, it's just. But mind you, it's like with all our bad news in terms of departures, with rugby league getting all out at once. There's Jackson Hastings, Gavi.
On to that one, yeah, that's a bit bizarre. How do you get banned and serve a ban that you didn't know you have? Explain that.
Yeah. It's just daft. It's just bad news. And again, it's like we mentioned before. If you're getting, if a sport like, if your flagship division, your flagship league, is coming back very much like the Premier League in football, for the fact that we can control the players, they're in bubbles and that sort of thing. If that's happening, then it just puts a big mark on the sport. Sport wide, and I know Premier League had a couple of cases of coronavirus right at the very start, and it was the odd ones here and there. Hull had 6 players got it, and then a member of Saints backroom staff,
another team, and vicinity, and none of Salford's lot of cars. The whole
it just needs. I think on the BBC forum with Chappers. Jim Jones Buchanan and John Wilkin, they argued, and quite right, the fact that I think the testing needs to be more regular. There needs to, because I think at the moment they get tested once a week, which is all fair and well. If I get tested once a week because I come into contact with the general public, fair enough. But these are rugby players who not only have to come into contact with families here and there, like into following social distancing and all that, but they come into close contact with each other. The tackling, the chances are they're getting bodily fluids on each other indirectly and that sort of thing. It just seems definitely getting tested once a week. They should be tested at least twice before the game, then after the game.
Sure, the RFL, with the return to work, if you want to call it that, should have some kind of protocol. So sure, they're working through it now. I think with the cancelling the game, it might help, but they must have been expecting it. Yeah, we're going to have it at some point, wasn't it?
Of course, you can't.
Grand final.
Sure, yeah, it could cancel. You imagine, let's say, if you look at the table now, I think is it Wigan Saints who are top and second?
Catalan as well, but yeah.
Catalan thereabouts. Let's say it's Wigan Saints for argument's sake. Actually, no, let's say Catalan. Let's go worst case scenario. Let's say Wigan Catalan. Catalan have flown from France only to find out that 2 Wigan players have got coronavirus and it's cancelled, grand final. What an absolute embarrassment that would be. And the amount of money that it would cost Catalan to either stay in the country for a week to do it or to fly back to France, then back, would be absolutely... would be just insane.
I've given the governing body the benefit of the doubt up until now, thinking, sure, they've got everything in hand with the protocols and everything. But then when they come out with this ban's just really bugging me. I mean, I just don't understand how you can serve a ban before you knew that you had it.
Yeah.
It sets a horrendous precedent
Yeah. It just casts rugby league as a tin pot sport. You've got the powers that be that don't know what they're doing, and players that don't know what they're doing. They're just thick players or whatever. It's just not a good news story. Obviously, not a good news story for people catching it or breaking rules or whatever. But the way it's been handled and the protocol that were there before, it just screams ineptitude for me, really. But it's one of those. Hopefully, it's the last time it happens and things are tightened up. But I'm not going to hold my breath for it because we know what the RFL and Super League are like, really. But there you go. It's one of those things. All those things there. Let's finish on a good news story. Let's see what that. Rugby League World Cup next year. I'm already excited for it. They announced the prices of the games and how affordable. I think you can watch, if you're a concession, you can watch rugby, the wheelchair game and women's games for £2.70, I think it is. You can watch games for a tenner. All the games, I don't think you're paying more than a tenner. And I think you get cheapest tickets for a tenner and a fiver for most of them. And then you can watch the final for £20, which is a double header for women's and men's. Again, it's just you've got all the good work going on there, which has been ruined by these other things that are coming into play. But
yeah, I think the master plan's there in it to get the cheap tickets out, get the bums on seats, and you can then get some decent shots to use forevermore and promote your sport. Make it look like, packed stadiums is what you want.
Definitely.
Out of going it, yeah, I might have to take in a game myself. It seems a long way away now, doesn't it?
It does, but there's no harm in playing for it, and that's the thing, because there's not that much going on. Yeah, we are returning to some sort of normal in terms of life. Schools are going back soon, and we've had football, which has come and gone. It's starting again in 3 weeks. It's that thing where if you steadily build, if you keep it in that consciousness, more people will take it. And I'm looking forward to getting my ticket sorted and going to games. There's Headingley nearby us. There's some at Huddersfield. There's some in Sheffield, Doncaster. All up, and obviously the finals in Manchester, which is a nice little journey in itself, really. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it does come to some normality. We can have full stadiums in there, and it is a really good, because it's potentially the first big event that this country will put on in terms after normality, because you don't know what else is. Like, obviously you've got football, and that's where it is. But in terms of a World Cup of a sport, of a so-called main sport, in our country,
I said we're ending positively.
I am. That's what I mean. I am, and hopefully that is where there is positive. If we're the first ones that it's like crowds can go in and we can have a full house at Old Trafford for the final and all the other games. How good would that be? How good would that be to show what an ace sport that we are, both on and off the pitch?
Absolutely, mate. I've got a question for you before we sign off.
Well, go on.
Get your coin out. You can toss it. Yes or no? Will the 5-team RFL competition go ahead?
No. No, not at all.
I can't see it myself either.
No. he said 5. 5 team. What are they going to do? Just have a round robin of games and then a final? What?
You can see that when you tell the grandkids about your rugby career in years gone by. Well, we made a semi-final once. How many teams? Granddad? 5. We got a pie in the previous round as well.
If it was 4 teams, then I'd probably say yeah, because it's a lot easier to do. But if it's 5 teams, it just creates all sorts of problems. Is it a round robin and whoever has the most points wins, or
when's it supposed to start?
November apparently, but again, it just seems daft when you've got.
It should call it the Yorkshire Cup Mark II, Mark III, I think it is at this point, isn't it?
It sounds like bloody Berry's Jewellers are behind this. It seems. That's another story for another day. Let's leave it there. We've had our bit. Thank you very much for joining us. I think those who will unlucky enough to catch the live stream earlier on tonight. I don't think we're going to be able to do that until we're able to actually use the Ace equipment from Eclipse Energy. To do that, we can do it for a single camera, but I think in these times, I think a live stream is just not possible at the moment. But if you know how to do it, please let us know. That'd be ace. But until then, we'll have the good old podcast and videos on there. So until then, thank you very much, Mr. Rick Farrell, Mr. Birthday Boy Farrell. I've been Mike Haig. Enjoy Rugby League. Take care. Stay safe and goodbye.